What's up? My name is Eric Butler. This channel is called Report and Opine. I am back. And from the Instagram account of New York City Mayor Eric Adams, he says, New Yorkers know that the asylum seeker of today is the citizen, leader, and innovator of tomorrow. Our blueprint is the key to turning a crisis into an opportunity for progress for the entire country. Read the plan at the link in bio. And of course, we will take a quick look at the plan in the link in bio. But before you even get to the video, the caption alone is already littered with dystopian, democratic, doublespeak euphemisms. The asylum seeker of today is the citizen of tomorrow. So the illegal who hops over the fence today is the leader of our country tomorrow. Now, they've already we went from illegal immigrant, or we actually went from illegal alien to illegal immigrant to just immigrant to asylum seeker. And there's no such thing as an illegal anymore. You can't hop the fence and demand entry and demand housing at a hotel and demand food culturally appropriate to your nation, even though if you wanted that food, you probably should have stayed where you were. But it's kind of like how when Rona came along, the flu went away, the common cold went away. This is the same thing, right? There's no such thing. You can't just come over illegally. That's impossible. They're all just asylum seekers. There's no chance in the world that it's just, some people looking for an economic opportunity and they know that the door is wide open here and they're going to quite literally demand that you let them stay at a hotel and give them food that they like, right? And he is catering to these people. Meanwhile, you still have a whole bunch of protesters in New York who are even crazier, more delusional than the Democratic establishment, I should say. They're screaming about, transgender rights and how they don't like Eric Adams. And I'm like, well, I don't like Eric Adams either, but you're completely wrong as to why you don't like him. They don't even know what's going on. But that, of course, is a completely different story. So let's see what Mayor Eric Adams has to say about the asylum seekers that are going to be the leaders of our country tomorrow. Despicable.
Hello, this is Mayor Eric Adams. We just released The Road Forward, a blueprint to address New York City's response to the asylum seeker crisis.
Yeah, the road forward. And you got to admit, they are good at the doublespeak. They are good at the euphemisms. They are good at manipulating language. And somehow, some way, there is a group of people who continue to buy this. And I'm noticing it now. Like, people leave me comments from time to time, and I'm like, wow. There are people who are really still deep into the matrix and they do not know what's actually happening. They cannot see the manipulation tactic that this entire corrupt establishment has foisted upon everybody. They're still in there. And there's loads of people that will say, they can't put the dots together, right? They're like, well, I don't really like that. I don't really like that. But, vote blue no matter who. And they can't put the dots together. And I'm not going to sit here and go to bat for the Republican Party because they're also spineless little weasels, but it's just a different kind of control tactic. It's a tiny bit less offensive way of manipulating human beings, because saying that a man can just magically become into a woman is off the deep end. And it's interesting that you don't really hear Mayor Eric Adams talk about that too much. And that's why you have those protesters who were out screaming about trans rights because of something that happened in Tennessee, and they're mad at Eric Adams for that. None of that makes sense. Those people, I would venture a guess to say that those people are like some weird Soros paid off Trump Pence out now, pay to play protesters. But anyways, let's continue with the video. I apologize.
Our city has responded swiftly and compassionately to this crisis. But
that's false. Swiftly and compassionately. You didn't respond swiftly at all. And I guess you could say, yeah, sure, compassionately at the expense of taxpayers all across New York City, right? They're footing the bill for the Xboxes and the Coronas and the Doritos that the immigrants are throwing around at the 5-star Times Square hotels that you let them live in. And for the record, if you see this guy right here paused in the picture, this is actually the cover of the plan, right? And he has got hand tattoos and Yeezys. This is the asylum seeker. A man with hand tattoos and Yeezys is the face of the compassionate migrant rewards program, or whatever you want to call this nonsense.
our resources are stretched thin. This blueprint lays out what we will do.
Your resources, Your resources are stretched thin. I wonder why. Is it because you let millions of people in illegally and you didn't bother to maybe do a little head count? I mean, how can you not see through this? This is all complete nonsense. What did you think would happen? You don't have to be a rocket scientist. You don't have to be a politics major. You don't have to be an economist to realize that if you just let millions of people into the country without kind of taking stock of that, taking inventory, then yeah, it's going to hit the fan, right? This is what we saw 6 months to a year ago when the border towns were complaining like, we can't really handle this. And the border town mayors and the border state governors started sending them to New York and sending them other places. And they were like, yeah, I guess I get it, but you guys are still racist. None of it makes any sense because every single time we always know that their agendas cannot coexist in a rational thinking world, right? And that's why they want to control every single one of your thoughts so you don't ask them any questions. Because none of this, if you follow any of their talking points to their logical conclusion, they will undoubtedly be in direct opposition, direct conflict with another one of their talking points.
Moving forward in order to welcome migrants, but also ensures they can be self-sufficient and get to where they ultimately want to go. We are creating an Office of Asylum Seeker Operation to oversee
a new office, a new bureaucratic office, and there you have it. We just need more money. We're going to pay these bureaucrats, and they're going to trickle down some pennies to a couple of the illegals that we let stay here for free. So we just created a brand new office of overpaid political hacks. That's what's happening.
Our efforts and allow other city agencies to refocus on their core missions. We are also creating a new centralized 24/7 arrival center where asylum seekers will receive basic needs like food, a safe place to sleep, and more.
And he just keeps saying the phrase asylum seeker over and over again because he wants you to know that there is no such thing as an illegal immigrant and doesn't exist. And they would actually say that, right? No human is illegal on stolen land. But then we can watch them melt down when they show up at Martha's Vineyard, right? So this is despicable at its very best. So he's created a new bureaucracy and erected a new arrival center, all of which is going to cost the taxpayers billions of dollars. But the people in New York apparently are completely oblivious to this. Or I shouldn't say that. They're not completely oblivious. A lot of them know, but they get squashed like bugs when they say anything because there's no getting to the top. Like I said, you can't go full Karen on any of these people. You can't get to the manager because the manager's in on it. The manager's going to laugh you out of the building. Who were you going to go to? Governor Kathy Hochul, whose lieutenant governor was taken down by the feds? And like I said, if you are a Democratic establishment politician and the FBI comes after you, you must have gone completely rogue. You must have been doing something so terrible, right? So that's how, I believe his name was Brian Benjamin, went down. That's how Mohammed Nuru, the Department of Public Works head in San Francisco, went down, working and dating for the San Francisco mayor. But again, that's a completely different story, and I always digress. But these things are always connected. They're completely connected. We saw it from day one of the Rona hysteria, how San Francisco and New York, they're parallels. Right? They read from the same playbook at the same time. Even just a week or so ago, where we saw California says, we need more safe injection sites. One day later, Eric Adams says, we need more safe injection sites. So he is worried about housing asylum seekers because he doesn't want to say the term illegal immigrant. And he is worried about creating new safe injection sites so the junkies don't overdose. Meanwhile, they can't stop the crime, or like I say, they won't stop the crime. They are choosing not to stop the crime because this is obviously more profitable for them. And that's why they would rather see teenagers destroy a Chinese restaurant, because the wild actions of people is not what bothers them. It's only the thoughts that go against their narrative that are more disturbing to this political regime hackery.
We will continue to provide legal assistance and workforce training so that new arrivals can navigate our immigration system and find work as soon as possible. And we will also help asylum seekers begin new lives, not just here in New York City. You can read the blueprint at nyc.gov/asylum seeker blueprint. We need all hands on deck to help, from our faith-based organizations to philanthropies and corporate partners to lawmakers at the state and federal level, and even our fellow New Yorkers. This is a national problem.
It is, bro. And you guys were the one that said, we're a sanctuary city, we're going to let everybody in. And now you're kind of realizing it's not quite as easy as it was going to be. But no worries, because you get to just ask for more money and create more bureaucracy.
We need a national solution. But as we have done so often, New York City will lead the way, mobilizing our people and our resources to help those in need achieve the American dream of freedom, safety, and hope for a better future.
Yeah, right, bro. Freedom and safety are the last things you think about when you think about New York, right? Freedom. Are you kidding me? They wouldn't let you go into an Applebee's without proof of paperwork. Safety, now they're telling you that you have to take the mask off to go into a store, which is an exact, 180 from what they were doing a year ago. So freedom is not in the book for New York. And here's the link in bio, the Asylum Seeker Blueprint, a 25-page PDF called The Road Forward, a blueprint to address New York City's response to the asylum seeker crisis. And I'm almost certain it will be littered with euphemisms and dystopian democratic doublespeak, because the words asylum seeker is the only thing that exists now. There's no such thing as a migrant or an illegal immigrant. That has gone out the window, and they will tell you that honestly, like, no person is illegal, whatever, until they show up on Martha's Vineyard, and then we got to get rid of them. But it is funny that this guy, who appears to be the face, the body of the crisis, has a hand tattoo, and I'm not knocking it, but you got money to spend, and that is going to make it a little bit difficult for you to get work, even though Mayor Eric Adams says it's going to be super simple for you guys to get work through our programs and our training or whatever, money scam laundering bureaucracy that he's created. And of course, the Yeezys, shout out Yeezy. He's real worldwide with that influence. I don't know if those are real or fake, but the point remains, are these really the people that are so downtrodden and they need our help so bad that they show up unannounced and demand you let them stay in Midtown Manhattan? These are the people, and when you serve them peanut butter and jelly, they don't want that. They want the food of their native land, even though obviously they should have just stayed in their native land if they were so attached to that food. And the list goes on, right? But 25 pages of this, and nobody's going to read it, but somebody certainly got paid for it. And here's, Weasley little Black de Blasio right here. To my fellow New Yorkers, New York City has always been a destination for people seeking freedom and safety. Yeah, okay, we already went through that. Because freedom and safety are not the things you are going to get if you show up in New York City. I promise you that. I don't know who this lady is. Deputy Mayor Ann Williamson. I'm sure she's completely corrupt as well. She looks like de Blasio's wife, or Flavor Flav, as it were. And this just goes on. Introduction. New York City's response to the asylum seeker crisis and its causes. Yeah, it's really not that hard to figure out. You didn't need to write a 25-page document that nobody's going to read to tell us that you're just going to be asking for more money. That's all everything is ever about. It's money, and if it's not cold, hard cash for another bureaucracy that you're going to set up, it's just to control your thoughts. That's it. Put your mask back on, you idiot. They told you couldn't go to work. They told you couldn't go to school. You couldn't go to Applebee's. You couldn't go to a movie. You couldn't do anything unless you obeyed. And these people show up unannounced and are giving the world on a silver plate. It's absolutely despicable. But thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, and of course, subscribe.